So, hello and welcome. I'm interviewing Dianna Leeder about her book project, Find Your Voice, Save Your Life. So, welcome, Dianna. How are you?
Thank you, Jacqueline. I am good. I'm good. It's a beautiful day. It's a sunny day. It's a little cold up here in Canada, but
Mhm.
so I had to have the fire on just to keep me warm. But yeah, no, it's beautiful. I'm pumped from our book launch yesterday that I know we're going to talk about. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for having me. I'm sorry it didn't work out in to do this live this morning, but that was kind of fun to try to figure it out. So
We can't always rely on technology. We just go what we're supposed to do. So,
yeah.
yeah, the book launched yesterday. How are you feeling?
You know what? Yesterday I was describing myself as feeling bubbly because it just kept coming up, and it was just such an exciting day with the launch and all of us being together on Zoom and on Facebook as well, and just those connections, and that I think that has spilled over to today. So
Yeah.
I'm still pretty excited. Yeah, it's great, and women are signing up for book two. I think that they're feeling some of that excitement too, which is awesome. So awesome.
Yeah. So, it was really powerful listening to more of the authors read from their chapter yesterday. Like that really touched me of the level, well, I guess the level of suppression that women have experienced and what it's like to free that part of themselves. It was really powerful.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think all the stories have that ability to touch us in that way because they are powerful stories, and they're all different, as you know, in terms of what our experiences were and how some of them were more deep and cutting than others.
Yeah.
But all of them, it's all so personal to each one of us that I think that's where the power comes in. We for whatever reason we did feel suppressed.
Yeah.
We did feel held back, and we didn't do, we weren't able to really be who we are. That whole alignment with ourselves thing that is so so important.
Yeah, it's very important. Um, yeah, the energetic alignment of living our true lives is so important, and paying attention to what shuts it down is important, and also what opens it up is the freeing part. So, can you share a little bit about what you do and why did you take on this project?
So I'm a women's life coach, life and confidence, and I call myself a life hack because I work with women to apply themselves, their inner selves, to
Mm,
every piece of their lives.
mm,
I mean, we relationships take up so much of our existence. That's a huge area to apply, to apply ourselves to know who we are, and then to be able to express that in relationships. So whether that's our intimate relationships, our partnerships, our children, our parents, as we get older and our parents, we become parents, then, our parents take on a different role, that kind of thing. So there are all kinds of pieces there that I just like to get into and with a woman, and, let's go here and let's really figure out what it is that you need to be expressing in those particular relationships or those circumstances, or even how you put yourself out in the world
yeah.
is a big one. Are you fearful, are you held back? Okay, let's go there. Let's go there, and let's talk about those places, and what your triggers are, how to be prepared, as you said, to what are you going to do when something does happen? I call that emotional shit kickings. You get that emotional hit. Well,
Yeah.
that's really what it is.
Yeah.
You get that
Yeah.
emotional hit, and then what do what do you do with that? So we could go down the rabbit hole, or we can know ahead of time what it is that builds us up. How to do a mind shift, um, how to honor ourselves, how to support ourselves to, from that place of inside, because that's where all that information comes from. We know all those things that support us and make us feel loved and cared for ourselves. So to be able to know those ahead of time, to have a plan, so to
Yeah.
speak,
Yeah.
for when the hits come,
Yeah.
that we can then, okay, we got it, we're in. So that's the kind of work that I really really love to do.
Mm.
And this the my Voices of Women project is one that is just newly born. This book was really it was kind of the agitator of this for me. So because I think there is a progression that we go in as humans, in terms of our healing, which of course never ends. Um, and I think one of the places that we need to go to start with is to acknowledge our story.
Mm.
We have to know that we have a story. It doesn't have to create the meaning of the rest of our life. It doesn't have to lead us. But to understand it, acknowledge it, get it out. I call it getting out, from the heart to the page, or speaking it, journaling it, however you want to do that. I think is really big. So the my Voices of Women project is really starting at that beginning with women, who really are ready to do that, are ready to express their story in whatever way they can. So yeah, there is that expression piece. There is that the healing that happens, and it's a and you know this very well. It's a thoughtful, not an overnight process to go through that kind of thing, right? So you do bit by bit. I like to call it the when we've talked about this before, but the vomiting everything on the page. You have to at one point get it out, right?
Yeah.
You do, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
and then you can refine it to ways that can help shift your perspective about what happened,
Yeah.
and you can move that along into into different stages of your healing. And then the final result in terms of the Voices of Women project is that then you can become actually a co-author of a book, as you did in Find Your Voice, Save Your Life. So that's kind of the end result, and you can sit at the end of that and do what we did yesterday, which was like,
Mm.
woohoo! I
Yeah.
did it. We did
Yeah.
it. There's such strength in the group doing it together. And again, everybody approaches this in a different place and is looking for different kinds of healing, or different, they want their own outcome,
Yeah.
throughout that whole project, and all that is fine.
Yeah.
um, so to kind of grasp the pieces that feel really great, and the ones that you're good with, you can just kind of leave over there for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the Voices of Women project, and the book itself, was really the Find Your Voice, Save Your Life, is was really intended to do two things. It was intended to give women a platform for that writing, as I just described, to become authors, kind of as that final piece, to become authors of their own story in a published place,
Mm.
published, out there place, because
Mhm.
that's major, I think, really
Mhm.
major.
Mhm.
And then the second piece is to recognize that what we have to tell, is exactly what somebody out there needs to read.
Yeah.
So, it's not, and even already, even some of the reviews, they make mention of specific chapters, or a content that really resonated with them, and they're going to take that back and have let it create some awareness for themselves. That's, when we absorb, that's what we do. We're really creating our own awareness.
Mm.
And if they just take one smidgen of a story, or 10 smidgens, and they
Yeah.
decide that they're going to use that to help themselves find their voice or make their voice stronger, then that's my work is done. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big one. So that was the other half of
Mm.
the book itself. So, and I'm just so honored to have worked with everybody and so proud of what we have done together. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's so beautiful. And I do think this is the year of women. So a book like this is going to resonate with so many women, and maybe they won't realize it today, but like you said, it's like we plant seeds and healing is a process. It's not, we don't go to the gym once to get six pack abs. We don't heal everything because that would be too shocking to the system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a journey and it's a process.
Yeah.
And I loved how you said something about, you had mentioned something about when we get triggered, right? I think we
Mm-hmm.
get triggered like all day long. We get triggered because of these wounds that we've experienced,
Mm-hmm.
which are playing out as stories in our minds, right? So,
Yeah.
on some level, these stories are keeping us stuck, they're keeping us small.
Yeah.
And now that you started this journey of freeing it, it's going to shift all, every area of our lives, right? And the more we step into becoming who we are without all of that, the ripple effect is going to be profound, really
Abs-
profound.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. And it is such powerful, powerful work. And when you get to understanding, that you are carrying some of those stories, then
Mm,
people, practitioners like yourself, come in who can do that ancestral clearing that could be a lot of what's happening for you.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's not just specific experiences you had in this lifetime. Obviously, it's more. So
Yeah.
I think we are in the book, absolutely, and otherwise. We are very, very blessed to have a lot of practitioners who do specific work on helping us clear whatever messages we think are guiding us. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
shifting.
we are kind of complicated beings, right?
Yeah.
And if we look, we are all energetic beings, and if we look at our energy, is it ours? Did we take it on from our ancestors? Are we
Yeah.
taking it out from our spouse, from the people who raised us? Um, yeah. And
Yeah.
so many people talk about being our true selves, being our authentic selves. But we don't even know that we're not our authentic selves or that we're an extension of our ancestors' energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all a process. It's
Mm-hmm.
all learning. And I love how 2020, I think, has stepped us into having more conversations about this, right? So
Yeah.
that there's more ways to heal deeper and more longer lasting, right? So it's an amazing time to be alive right now.
Yeah, I think so too. I had to kind of take a look around at what was happening in the world at that particular point, and what was happening, with women that I was working with, and friends and colleagues, to kind of get a grounding about that, because I know I was feeling it for me,
Mm.
that it's something is opening up here. Something is very, very
Yeah,
much opening up. And my own personal belief is that things are opening up for us because as a world, as a society, we need to be open to more. We need to
yeah,
understand that it's not we're not alone.
yeah,
That's my take. We're not
yeah,
alone, and if we are open to that kind of the support of spiritual energy, then I think that's awesome. That's like somebody's got my back. A lot
yeah,
of somebody's have my back. Yeah. So, and I think
yeah,
it's time. The world has had a huge emotional hit, a huge
mhm,
everything hit. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's really time.
And
Yeah.
we were just going too fast before. we were so not present. Like 2020 for me helped me to slow down. And some people to say it was a pause. It's like I'm finally becoming more present. I'm finally like, I had a conversation earlier with Christy Sullivan and talking about self-care. Self-care, we need to feel worthy and deserving of taking time for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? So 2020 for me has allowed me to slow down and really feel gratitude for what I do have. Maybe I haven't reached my goals, but what I do have in this moment, what I've created between the family and business and all of that, right now in this moment, there's so much to be grateful for. And I think it's a blessing that we were caused and kind of forced to slow down, not just for us, but for our kids, for our families, and for the world as a whole.
Yeah, I agree, Jacqueline. I think the world was moving way too fast, way too fast. And when you think about the issue of self care, every little bit that we do for ourselves is an act of self care, and or self nourishment, as I like to call
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
feeding who we are. It's feeding the being inside us. It's not feeding the beliefs that are really bull. you know, it, it's feeding us, and it's
Yeah.
helping us be stronger as opposed to zapping our energy. So I think that I think even in terms of triggering, or any of that conversation, I don't think that you can, when you're healing, I don't think you can at all ignore the need for self care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's
Yeah.
a really big one. And I want to say too, I just want to go back just a tiny bit when we were talking about the clearing and the work that you do, Jacqueline, because so Jacqueline did a session with me, a couple of sessions with me,
Mhm.
and I was blown away. It was so cool. It was very cool, and I really I connect to my ancestors' history anyway, so that was a very powerful visualization that you took me on to be able to see them. And even though I don't, I don't even know what their faces look like, other than pictures, and they only go back a couple of generations. So just to be able to know that there are so many layers there's so
Yeah.
many people that came before me that that I can, in that way, I felt like I was interacting with them.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it was awesome, powerful. Yeah, thank you for doing
Yeah.
that. That was great. Loved it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And there's that's the thing we don't know is that it's energy and their unresolved emotional issues are passed down to us. So when we clear it for ourselves and them, we also clear it for our future generations,
Mm,
right? Our ancestors have been through such hard, difficult times. And I'm not saying that what we're experiencing today is any less hard, right? But I haven't been through a war in my own home,
mm-hmm,
right? I haven't been through a severe depression. Um, and no matter what we're going through, how can we heal those parts of us that are still wounded so that no matter what happens, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future.
mm-hmm,
At some point this pandemic will be over, but there will be something after that,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
That's just the way of life.
That's true. And
Um,
yeah. And when you think about, so, we're born as these babies who are instinctively made to, to use their voices to get their
yeah,
needs met.
yeah,
That's really instinctive. And as much as, brand new moms want the babies to stay asleep, please. They don't usually do that. They just, nah, we're not doing that. So, I think we're still, maybe there's, and I don't know enough about this to really speak to it correctly, but it feels to me as though they're, whatever is there in that moment that they're bringing forward hasn't emerged yet because they are really strong in their voices, and it's like
mm,
it's survival,
Yeah.
right? But then, whatever is there matching with whatever influences come to you, some of us don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult, it can be very, very, very difficult for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we all kind of make it work for us in whatever degree we can. But when I see women that have to hide, who feel as though they have to hide who they are,
Mm.
what they want,
Yeah.
whatever they desire, their opinions,
Don't
um,
speak up at all, no matter what, no matter what's
yeah,
happening or what somebody's, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it really is there's that when you bring that whole combination together, it's it's tough. It's tough for women. So
Yeah.
just to understand that process to begin with is a start to healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Um, and yeah, just some final messages that you have for anybody watching this.
Mm. So, just really quickly, and I won't get into detail, but for me, there are steps to learning to use your voice. If
Mm.
you're feeling at all stifled, and the very first one is to do what I call in my practice, learn to kick your own ass with love. Okay, so
With
it's
love.
with
Yes,
love,
very
yes.
important.
Yes, because it's not about blaming yourself for
Mhm.
any of your past faux pas or, things that you really think that you should have done differently. Let's just leave that over there.
Yeah.
It's simply about, it's awareness. It means awareness.
Yep.
So it's recognizing that you are in the driver's seat of your experiences. You can't
Mhm.
control someone else. You can't control how they behave or how they interact with you, but you can understand the parts of that that are not okay for you, and you can learn to set your own boundaries and what those boundaries mean and how you're going to maintain them. Boundaries aren't necessarily for everyone saying that person's out of my life. For some people it may be.
Yeah.
It may just be saying no thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be that simple. But to have that awareness of what's happening that's not working, recognizing that that power comes from you.
Yeah.
And if
Yes.
you match that with what you know about yourself, and things like ancestral understanding what came before you is a big part of that. But if you match it with what you know as a human being, about yourself, your needs, your wants and desires,
Mhm.
then you're really armed, right?
Yeah.
You're armed. You're armed with love
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
and it's you're then that much more confident. That is confidence then to be able to speak from yourself. That's
Mhm.
all you're doing. You're not telling somebody else that, well, you're a you know what. And you can do that too if you want to, but
You don't
you
have to.
speaking from yourself,
Yeah.
right? You're
Yeah.
speaking from yourself.
Yeah.
You're not blaming anybody else. And then yeah, and then the next piece is really to dive into those relationships.
Yeah.
So identifying where you are feeling as though you're blocked, where are you
Yeah.
stifled,
Yeah.
where are you not speaking your truth, all that stuff. So take a peek at those relationships, because relationships are so huge for us.
Yeah.
And then the last piece is to start practicing. A little bit
Yes.
at a time, a tiny bit at a time, telling
Mm.
your doctor, no, thank you. I don't, I would rather have something natural as opposed to that
Mm.
prescription. And if the doctor doesn't agree with you or gives you a really hard time or shames you, which can happen, then finding someone else who hears you.
Right.
You're entitled to do that. And that's just an example. I mean, the other
Yeah.
example that I've used many times is, just returning your coffee to the barista very politely, saying, I'm sorry, but, I ordered it this way. So
Yeah.
would you mind exchanging it? It can be big, it can be small, but just start to practice one little bit at a time, because that then just gives you more strength to continue to do more. And the more you do, the more aligned you feel, the stronger you feel. And you know what else? You increase your energetic space. Your ability to
Mhm.
embrace joy, to embrace happiness, to embrace gratitude, all those things that, when you're in that small square place in your head that is saying, I can't, I'm not, I won't, I'm not allowed to, whatever it is, that's the place where you want to hide. So, that energetic space that is created when you're lined allows you to, come out of
Mhm.
hiding and start to really live. And that's really what we want, right?
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's awesome. So, where can people find this book?
So the book, and I'm sorry because I didn't write down the exact link, but
And
it's available on Amazon.com, on Amazon.ca. I'm a Canadian girl, so yeah, it's up here too. It's actually on. I've seen it on. It's on. One of our authors is on. Is from. Um, uh, no, sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong one. It's on, I'm going to forget that statement. It is on Amazon in India. It's on Amazon in the UK. So it's all over where Amazon
yeah,
is, right?
beautiful.
So you can find it on any of those sites. It's also, and I think you're doing this too, Jacqueline. I hope so because I just put it in the comments in your group. That several of the authors, including myself and you, are selling the books and we are signing them and dedicating them.
Yeah.
So to be able to, write a little note if you've got someone who you think needs that kind of boost of voice or, is looking for some support, buy them
Yeah.
a book. Let Jacqueline or whoever write a dedication inside,
Mhm.
from you or from the author,
Yeah.
and have it personally signed. That's I think that's a lovely way, and to really gift someone, then. And it's not bossy. It's simply offering, and letting whoever reads it do whatever healing they choose to do or are
Yeah.
called to do right
Yeah.
then.
Beautiful.
So, and I also want to invite people to come out to my Facebook group, which Jacqueline is part of too. All the authors are in that group, and as we move on to the second edition, all those authors will be in there too. So it's gonna be a party, I gotta tell you. Yeah, we're there to just have conversations about our voices.
Yeah.
To post, memes, to whatever quotes, talk about what's happening for you if that's what you choose to do. Ask questions about the chapters. And we will be doing, although I don't have a timing plan for this yet, but we will be doing some live readings of the chapters. The
Nice.
authors will read their, in that group, which would be great. So that group is called Find Your Voice Women. So please come out and note that it is women. It's kind of
Yes.
important, yeah. There's definitely that. And you can find me at cravemorelife.com. If anything kind of tweaked for you about finding your own voice. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think Jacqueline is my awesome friend. And I'm kind of, and we've talked about this before off camera, but I'm really drawn to working with her. So who knows, maybe she and I will come up with some kind of connected program or something that where we can both jump in and offer some support.
Yeah. And maybe even some live in-person retreat of some kind I see in the future. Yeah. That would be
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. See ya, COVID.
That's right. Don't let the
Yeah,
door hit you on the way out.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Well, Diana, thank you for interviewing and taking the time out. It's been wonderful always being with you and hearing about this
Mm.
project. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you. And I always kind of joke that Jacqueline was on on my podcast, and without even realizing what I did, I introduced her as Jacqueline Kennedy. And I still didn't see it until after, and when I listened to the recording, I was like, oh no, That was not good.
I like that mistake though.
Well, you wear it well. You say you wear it
Thank
well.
you.
Anyway, thank you so much for having me, and I
Thank
love
you.
you. And yeah, everybody, I really hope you enjoyed the book. It's a blast. And if you are interested in having any part of the second edition, just email me at dianna@cravemorelife.com, and I'll set up a time to just have a quick chat with you, and you can, I can get to know you a little bit, and I can tell you a little bit about the project as well. If you're ready to tell your story, then this is your baby.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thanks, honey.
Thank you.